Your equipment always comes first. You don't have to buy the Cadillac. You don't buy the Volkswagen either. You never go cheap. You never go ultra expensive. Try to stay somewhere in the middle. Now, what we're about to show you is the tools that I have on hand at any given moment. These are just about all you need to start out with, and I suggest that these all be in your toolbox also. Yeah, you lay out a little bit of money at the beginning of it, but the thing of it is these are going to help you build a much, much better model. All right, let's take a look at what we have here. Take a look down here. Okay, the Ford motor itself, okay, you'll see it here. This I took right from the 32 Ford kit, the Revell kit. Now, this high-rise manifold I took off of AMT's 1966 Nova. Now, you see the carburetors? The carburetors came from the Nova itself. Now, the air cleaners themselves, they came from Detail Masters. Now, if you look right in here, you'll see an electric fan. Now, that fan come out of Revell's 1941 Street Willys Pro Street Kit. Also, you'll see a nice little number of aftermarket details, including the air cleaners, and you'll see some of the ionized fittings that are made by Detail Master also. Now, to cut it, relatively simple. Like I said, you always keep sharp X-Acto blades, brand new ones. I suggest doing it this way. I always have a nice cutting board underneath. It's soft enough to take the brunt of the blade. There we go. Now see, it cuts a lot easier, a lot nicer. You can use a tubing cutter on this. Okay? You get a nice smooth edge. You don't have to worry about any jaggedness. You don't have to worry about putting a pair of pliers on it and collapsing it. Anytime you're doing bare metal foil, you always want to cut a piece larger than the area that you're going to put down. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to cut a narrow strip, a little bit wider than that spear. And what you can do, you can take it, lay it up next to the body to see how long it has to be. If it overlaps, so be it. Doesn't really matter. And cut your piece off. Now, what you do is you take your knife blade, gently lift the corner of the bare metal foil, and you peel it back and separate it. We're going to lay this Thunderbolt decal down. Now this goes on the top of the quarter, in the rear. Okay, there you go. Now, I want you to look at this, okay? Notice with these scissors, I have no fuzziness. It's just a straight, narrow cut. Very smooth, almost like I'm cutting out with razors. There are some guys, and I do it with some of Keith's decals, especially with the small flag decals, like I'm indicating here on this car, that I will use my surgical blades in an X-Acto knife to cut it out. But for the most part, you don't have to do that. Okay, decal goes in. Same tire as the first one. Look at the difference. What one looks more realistic? Okay, that's what you got to shoot for. Now, let me show you how to do it. Very simple. Piece of very, very rough sandpaper. And like I always tell people, I told this in the first DVD, you don't have to work with a big chunky piece of sandpaper. All you have to do, very lightly, fold it into a little square. That's all the bigger you need. Start at an angle and start sanding. Believe me, it doesn't take that long. Okay? And I'll have this tire looking like the other one, just the inner circle, because my God, it's not that tough to do. Now once again, this is the 1966 Mustang, this Pro Street that I built out of about 8 different kits. Now the motor is out of the 1987 Revell Ford. That's what I started with. The carburetors come out of the 1970 Super B. What you'll see here, and Jamie, this is going to be tough to get at. We might have to get another motor where they're painted, but Detail Master makes compression fittings. They go from size 1, which are teeny tiny, all the way up to size number 7. They're ionized fittings. The line, the fuel lines and everything, they've got the corresponding thickness to the lines to the fittings. I mean, you can have a field day with this stuff. Now, once again, you look up here. What I did, I cheated. There's nothing wrong with that. I used Detail Master's speaker grills. And what I'm going to do here, I'm going to take this dirty, dusty, rusty looking color. Now, this is a frame for a Thunderbolt for a customer. Now, being it's a block stock car, I want to do a little bit different with it. Okay? I want to doll it up a little bit more for him. Make it a little bit more realistic looking. So what we're going to do here is we're just going to brush this on lightly. It's scraping as on as it goes. And what I'm starting to get here, I'm starting to knock that, even if it's semi-gloss, it's still got a bit of a shine to it. I'm making this thing look like it's been driven a little bit. A little bit of dirt. Covering the whole frame, just like this. Now, if you notice, I'm only doing the frame part right now, okay? Because I want to get down into the areas that I'm not going to be able to get into once I glue all the suspension parts on.